Gavin Henson's pub, but there's, it was one of the biggest stories in the Western Mail, the following sports section the following day. So, when did Rugby League last get on the back page of the Western Mail?
Yeah, and you hope then off the back of that, it'll pick up more stories about like young kids like this who are going off to the top league. So that's cool. Hull KR have signed back rower George King from Wakefield Trinity with immediate effect. Back rower, just multi-positional forward.
Yeah.
On a deal to run to the end of 2022. King, who's 25, has only made 3 appearances this season for Trinity and has been allowed to link up with their Super League rivals. The Huddersfield-born forward began his career at Warrington, where he played nearly 100 games under Tony Smith. So Tony Smith knows him well and obviously likes him. He hasn't quite made that step up that we think maybe his brother is doing now at the Wire, but what do you think in terms of Hull KR bringing another body in for the back end of this season, but maybe part of the reshape that Tony Smith might have to do for next year?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's an idea at long term. It's not someone I've been particularly convinced by, but there's been flashes there. So if Tony Smith thinks he can get the best out of him, then it's one to start in that new look side that's going to be taking shape whenever we start the 2021 season.
But a late line in as well about Hull KR for 2021 and beyond potentially is Matt Parcells signed a new deal with the club. So the 27-year-old hooker who they signed from Leeds, we always felt he was a player suited for a Tony Smith style of side. Is that if you're a little bit underwhelmed at the moment with George King, is that one that makes you happy? The Parcells.
It is. It's a good delivery to get the Parcell come through. I think it's one. Yeah, he's been one of the more consistent players in that side for quite a while. He fits in well, and we sort of fit in round him. And he's a player that was quite a big signing when he came as well. And he's done very well. And I think he's fulfilled that deal quite well. So giving him a new deal is fair enough. He's someone who would be quite hard to replace, and he's someone who's when fit and firing is top class.
Well, he's a dream team level player at his absolute best. Yeah. He's struggled for that consistency, hasn't he? A little bit through injury, a little bit through team rotation and that sort of stuff. But yeah, he's a top player. Another top player and another bad story to tell everyone, because we're not going to get to see one of Super League's absolute greatest at the moment for the rest of the season potentially. St Helens centre Mark Percival is set to miss the rest of the season due to surgery on his troublesome hamstring. Percival, 26, limped out of the last 2 matches against Castleford and Warrington and is booked in to have an operation which will see him, according to Christian Wolf, be out for 8 to 10 weeks. So that pretty much sees it through to the end of November and the season's done for Mark Percival, which is a real shame. We've lost basically a quality left centre and a quality right centre. They're 2 potential dream team names that we've lost in the centres positions this week.
Yeah, it's a big shame for him. Again, you want to see the best players playing at the biggest games, and we're not going to get to do that, unfortunately.
No, because Saints are out of the cup.
Yes, well, yes.
Okay, well, good luck to Mark Percival and getting right and making sure he is right to push on for potentially a place in the England side come the end of 2021. So we want his recovery to be swift and complete. All right, let's do our quick burst through the Championship and League One. Tim, do you want to take it away with what's been going on at Leigh?
Yep, so Proc Markowani has signed a new deal with the Leigh Centurions. The 29-year-old former London Broncos forward who joined Leigh ahead of the 2020 season has put pen to paper on a 1-year extension. I own his shorts.
Like all of
what
them?
Used to be his shorts. No, just his training shorts that he used to wear at the Broncos.
Right, okay.
I bought them by myself. Well, I bought them knowing they were a pair of London Broncos shorts, but I didn't realise they were player issue, and they had Awani 8 written in the back of them. So there we are.
I'm still imagining a situation where basically before he moved up to Leigh, you bought all his shorts because he thought it was cold in the north, And now he's in the north and he's got no shorts. That's all I'm imagining. Whitehaven have signed Scotland-eligible fullback Lachlan Walmsley on a one-year deal. With a name like that, Saints will be keeping an eye on him. The 22-year-old has come through the system at Newcastle Knights and South Sydney Rabbitohs.
Sounds like a sort of Pro Evo name of just merged two names together, haven't they? At Saint. Dewsbury have exercised the option of a second year in Connor Scott's contract.
Back rower or centre Ed Smith has signed a new one-year deal at Oldham. The former York captain played 130 games for the Knights, but linked up with Oldham in 2019.
Dewsbury have taken the option to retain Tom Garrett for the 2021 season. Garrett joined the Rams at the beginning of 2019.
York have announced that young back rower Toby Warren will join the club in 2021 on a community dual reg terms from Heweth. The 17-year-old impressed the Knights as part of the club's Excel programme.
Okay, Dewsbury, Scotland's international winger Davy Dixon has committed his future to the club for 2021.
Back to York, they announced that outside back AJ Taus will remain at the club for 2021, again on a community dual reg terms with Heweth.
And the big York news this week, they have signed two-time Super League winner Adam Cuthbertson from Leeds on a one-year deal. Cuthbertson, who's 35, has spent 6 seasons at the Rhinos, having previously played in the NRL for Manly, Cronulla, St George Illawarra and Newcastle.
Yeah, they've got a lot of old Super League experience in that forward pack next year at York.
It's
hopefully
very
some
much
of these
Dad's
young people
army.
we've just talked about can benefit from that experience around them.
It's Dad's army in very much because they've got lots of older players and then lots of private pikes hanging around as well. Let's hope they're not stupid boys.
Ottawa Aces have confirmed the signing of Whitehaven forward Jake Mamo. The former Wathbrow Hornets amateur is a product of the Wigan Warriors Academy, spending 3 years with the club before heading back to Cumbria in 2017. Now, I must say I don't know much about Jake Mamo, but another signing for the Aces.
Yep. Barrow's Nathan Mossop has penned a new one-year contract with the club. Mossop is currently Barrow's longest-serving player.
West Wales Raiders have announced the signing of Army. Oh, I'm glad I got this one. Army winger Jafiti. I've not even practiced it. I should have practiced it. Jafiti Vakalalabuore. Vakalalabuore.
Vakalalabuore. Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, if their announcer's got anything about them, there's gonna be a lot more alalalas if he's on fire.
Labamba's gonna get played, isn't it, when he scores?
100%. You'd have to. Barrow have signed former St Helens Academy player Joe Sharrett on a one-year deal. He's represented Lancashire at Academy level and initially linked up with the Raiders in March. All the best to him. Of course, he was victim of that awful assault a couple of years ago.
Yeah, was it about a year or so ago in Manchester?
I think it was 2. I think it might have been 2 years ago.
Yeah, when I saw the picture attached to the news story, I was like, oh, it's that kid. That's cool. That is finding a way back in to get a club and stuff. So good luck to Joe up in Cumbria. Alex Holdstock has agreed a new deal with Doncaster for 2021. The 19-year-old joined the Dons at the start of last season after impressing well on trial with the club.
Tommy Johnson has extended his stay at North Wales Crusaders for another year at least. The 29-year-old is the club's all-time record holder for appearances, having played 170 games for the Crusaders.
West Wales Raiders have announced the signing of another Army winger. This time it is Eparahama Francis Boginisoko. Franny to his mates. Eparahama Francis Boginisoko for 2021. They love an Army winger down there at West Wales, don't they?
They do. It's weird because I don't think I'm not aware of much Army presence that far out, so I don't know where they're getting them from.
There's one they signed that's another Army winger that was at West Wales potentially for this year but didn't obviously pan out, who's already shown a little bit in the bits that people did see of him. He got a championship deal we talked about a few weeks ago, and I can't remember
Dewsbury?
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the guy for the life of me, but obviously they've found something there, so they're going to keep tapping that. Tapping that market.
There we go. Workington have re-signed Connor Fitzsimmons for next year. The former Castleford forward joined Town last year.
Keighley hooker Kyle Keswick has put pen to paper on a 2-year contract with the Cougars. He was appointed captain following his arrival from Doncaster last year.
Hunslet have announced that the quartet Keaton Hartley, Matty Crimes, Harvey Hallis and Danny King have committed to the club for next season.
Workington have signed utility forward Lewis Brown for 2021. Brown came through the ranks at Seaton Rangers and Salford before moving to Whitehaven. He will represent Town next year. Seaton Rangers is Cumbria, isn't it? So he's obviously back in his Cumbrian roots there for Lewis. Someone who's giving up on his roots. No, I'm not joking. is that's an unfair way to describe one of England's greatest, and that is St Helens prop forward James Graham, who's confirmed his international retirement and will not be part of England's World Cup campaign in 2021. Graham, who's 35, has a combined 53 caps for Great Britain and England, passing 50 games on last autumn's Lions tour. He played in the 2017 World Cup final defeat by Australia and skippered England to a Test Series win over New Zealand in 2018. I mean, he's one of the most capped internationals that our nation has produced, and what a legendary international career.
Yeah, one of the best forwards in my time watching the sport. Someone I've always been a fan of, even if he's been playing against my team. Absolutely immense, and you wish him well, and just hope that he has a happy retirement.
Yeah, we don't have confirmation on things in terms of his club future, whether he might go around again for St Helens next year, but obviously. So we can't eulogise the end of his career completely, but the end of his international career, I think it's fitting that the last... Obviously, 2019 was a fucking embarrassment for everyone involved in Northern Hemisphere International Rugby League, and I count France in that as well as Great Britain. But what he finished his way up, the way he finished off for England, is absolutely the right way for James Graham to be remembered on the international scene. I mean, he was already an old stage, wasn't he? He took over the captaincy when Sean O'Loughlin got injured.
There's a surprise.
In the international. At the end of series internationals, obviously he stepped in for the World Cup final too, as one of the leadership group there when again O'Loughlin was injured. But this Test series over New Zealand, especially the first two tests, the one in Hull and the one at Anfield, when England were absolutely phenomenal, and he was a big part of that, and a big part of that, even though his powers had diminished a little bit, when he put that England shirt on at that stage of his career, I felt like he elevated to the level that he was at 2 or 3 years before, rather than being the kind of occasional performer that he'd become maybe in the NRL in the last 18 months of his career. I think on the international scene, especially like say in 2018, he was absolutely outstanding still.
Yeah, I mean, just an immense player, and someone who was never going to take a backward step in an England shirt.
No, absolute passion in the shirt.
And finally, Super League clubs have deferred a decision on Toronto Wolfpack's future. The Canadian team withdrew from the 2020 season in July because of the overwhelming financial challenges posed by the coronavirus pandemic. A bid for the team to come back into the league could have been rejected on Friday, but the clubs opted to allow Toronto businessman Carlo Liviosi 4 weeks to present more details. The official Super League statement said this is an important next step in the ongoing rigorous efforts that have gone into ensuring the viability and financial sustainability of the Toronto Wolfpack before the board decides whether to readmit the club to the competition in 2021. Whilst that process is taking place, the board has agreed to take the opportunity with the help of independent experts. Yeah, because we're good at independent reports, especially in the North America sort of area. And RFL chair supporting...
I think that's why they're doing it.
supporting the executive chairman of Super League Europe Limited to review the analysis carried out by the governing body originally in the respect of the viability of rugby league in Canada and North America. This group is tasked with updating the historical analysis and will consider Toronto Wolfpack experiences, the recent other club admissions from North America, and the impact of COVID-19. Super League Executive Chairman Robert Elstone said, From the outset, the Super League board have said consistently it would provide Toronto Wolfpack with every chance to present the best possible case for a place in the competition next season. That process has to be thorough, fair and equitable, and today's decision is a further demonstration of our commitment to ensuring that. There were many areas of the Wolfpack submission to date that required greater clarity, and our clubs felt it was important